Hey everybody, Steve Hupp here, Practice Director for Field Service at Thunder, with another SFS video tip where I take a question from either the Field Service partner community or the Field Service customer community and attempt to go into Salesforce and build out a solution or a foundation of a solution in the hopes of not only helping the original poster, but also helping if anyone else is having similar issues or similar questions or thinking along the same lines. So today's question was all around having multi-select pick lists in the mobile application. So the more specifics were asking how the poster was asking how they could take a multi-select pick list, making selections, and then be able to use that to go and basically loop through what had been selected, right? So presenting a list of assets, selecting like 3 assets out of that list, and then being able to go and loop through those 3 assets, and then go and creating some additional records based off of other business criteria. And they were running into a wall just in terms of mobile, field service mobile, and it didn't really look like it could support it. Now, transparency, somebody from another partner did come and post and put a link to a package that I believe had another flow component that they were saying could be embedded as a subflow that in essence took the values out of the multi-select pick list, and then through the subflow was able to use like a text template, and then somehow some way was able to translate that into a collection, and then passing that collection back into the main flow, and then now having the collection, the user could go do whatever they wanted, and they could loop through and things like that. It sounds very viable. It sounds like it's definitely something that aligns to what the poster had in mind. However, for me, the last time that I tested this, which was a while ago, and it piqued my interest in going in and trying to test it again, is using the contains operator. So actually, presenting a list of choices to the user, having them select from that list of choices, and then right after they select, go and doing an actual query for the same records that I was using in my record choice set, and then looping through those and then using a contains operator to see if it was selected or not. And then if it was, then going and doing something with that. So that's what I went in and tested, because I do feel like it's fairly straightforward and it's fairly easy to go in and configure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through kind of what I built and kind of where we ended up in terms of results. So here we can see Salesforce, right? And I just have a list of assets. And so this is kind of what I formulated my use case off of. I just put a simple checkbox field on the asset. And so, now I've got my test checkbox field here. And so I went and built a flow, because that was what the poster was really looking at, was a flow in Field Service Mobile. And so my flow is pretty simplistic, right? So first and foremost, I go and I query for the work order details because I want to grab the account. And then I have a screen here, and in this screen, I'm basically displaying a record choice set of assets associated to an account. And I actually narrowed that down a little further, and I basically said, hey, I want to see the assets that are associated to the account on the work order and also don't have a serial number. And then I've just got a simple drop down here to select whether, going through the flow, do I want to check that test checkbox I have, or do I want to uncheck it depending on, where I'm at in my testing of this. And so if I open up my record choice selection here. So this is all that I'm doing, right? This is just a standard record choice set. I've got serial number is null, right, in terms of the assets, and then the account ID equals the account of the work order. So then this is where kind of the solution that I came up with starts to kick in, because I present that to the user, I allow them to select from that list, and then I go and I query for that same group of records, right? So I say, hey, Flow, go get me the assets that are, that have the same account as what's on the work order and also do not have a serial number. And so then as I grab those, I go through and I loop through them, right, once I've grabbed them. And then I have a decision here that basically says, okay, does the collection or does the multi-select pick list component that is in my screen contain the ID of the asset that's actually part of the loop, right? As it goes through, it's looping through each asset. Because as you make your selection, those IDs are actually what's stored in the multi-select pick list component. So I'm saying, hey, compare the multi-select pick list component to the current asset that's in the loop. If it's there, right, if it is contained there, then go and basically check the box or uncheck the box of that asset. Depending on which one, right? The selection that I make in my flow, as well as if the box is already checked, I've got that. And then once I assign the value, either checking or unchecking the box, I then add it to a collection, because we could have multiple assets that are selected. And then I simply just update the assets at the end, right? So pretty straightforward, right? Pretty easy to configure. I think I configured this in about 30 minutes this afternoon. And if I go back to my asset list here, I just wanted to point out that I don't have any of the checkboxes checked, right? So none of my assets are currently checked here. So on the left-hand side, I've got my mobile application up. So I am sharing my mobile application here on my screen. I've got an appointment that is scheduled to my technician, and Omega is the account on this. And so I can just quickly go over the details here, and we'll see that the account there is Omega. And so I embedded my flow as an app extension. So if I open that up, we'll see there's my test multi-select here. So I'm going to kick off this flow. Now it's going to give me my record choice set. So these are all the unserialized assets that are associated to the Omega account. So I can actually select multiple of these, right? So I'll go ahead and select 4 of them. So we'll select these 4. I confirm. We can see that the multi-select action has taken place. I've been able to select multiple of those. And then now I'm simply just going to say, yep, I want to go through and I want to check the box, right? So I'll hit next. So my flow is going to complete. And then now if I go ahead and refresh my asset list here, what we're going to see is there's my boxes checked, right? So again, the way that I went about this, the contains operator was able to successfully identify if the asset that was in the loop was one of the ones that was selected. And if it was able to then go and determine and check the appropriate box here to update, which again, even though I didn't go as far as the poster went, proves out that I can identify the asset that was selected, and then I could go and I could do something else. I could create a record, I could update a record, I could create related records to the asset, whatever I wanted to do. So that's it, right? That's all I wanted to kind of highlight. And again, I fully understand and respect that data volumes might be a issue here, right? Because you can only loop through so many, and you might run into issues there. And so that's why kind of in my example, I narrowed down my assets by the serial number field being null and associated to the account, of course. But I would say if you pursue a path like this, and you've got a large data volume set, to look at different business criteria where you could narrow down both the record choice set as well as the data that you're going to then go query and loop through in order to effectively, eliminate that as a non-issue, right? Like maybe there's other factors that determine that based off the type of work, right, we're only going to see a small subset of assets no matter what, which then makes the record choice set easier to manage and also makes the query easier to manage in terms of then looping through the results and being able to do the compares or the contains and seeing which of those records were actually selected. So thanks so much for watching. Again, like I said in the beginning, it was a quick one today. Appreciate watching the video. And as always, if there's anything that myself or Thunder can do for your field service implementation, please don't hesitate to reach out directly and let us know. Thanks so much.